Call to order the regular meeting of Chisholm City Council for April 1, 2020. Margaret, could you take a roll call, please?
Councillor Lance.
Here.
Councillor Fountain.
Here.
Councillor Vaki.
Here.
Councillor Varda.
Here.
Councillor Campbell.
Present.
Mayor Champa.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, so council, motion to adopt the agenda. Say your name when you make the motion, please.
I'll make the motion. This is Councillor Campbell to adopt the agenda.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second. It's Jim.
Second by Jim. Varda?
Yes.
Okay, so now on all our votes, we're going to do a roll call vote so Margaret can take a roll call vote. We'll need to do it on every motion we make tonight. So Margaret, could you just take a roll call vote on the adopting agenda, please?
Councillor Lance.
Aye.
Councillor Fountain.
Aye.
Councillor Vaki.
Aye.
Councillor Varda.
Aye.
Councillor Campbell.
Aye.
And Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, before we move on to the pledge, I just want to do one other thing. I'd like to, I just want to run through our department heads, and I want to see who's on here. So if you could just answer me as I call off your name. I'm going to just put a note so that when we get back to reports, I'll know you're in attendance. Building official Mandy. Engineer Jim, you're here.
Here.
Mandy.
I'm here.
There you go.
Sorry, I had to unmute.
Okay, no problem. Larry, Public Works.
Here.
Fire Chief, Bob.
Here.
Librarian.
Here.
Police Chief is here. I seen him pop up.
I am.
Director.
Present.
Present. Attorney Lindsay.
Here.
And our administrator.
Present.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. I got a flag behind me.
I do too.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
And
And
two,
to the republic for which it stands,
And
one nation,
under God,
under
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty,
liberty and
justice for all.
Well, that was interesting. So, as you'll notice, I've gotten involved in a few of these meetings. So, as you'll notice, the person that's talking is kind of popping up on the screen. So it is good to mute your volume on your device when others are talking. That way, if you shuffle papers or something, it won't be flashing all over the place. Just a couple other things I'd like to say before we move on. As of Friday, we were going to be using a different format, and that format pretty much fell through. And Eileen and Bill were scrambling to put this together, and with the help of Terry Hardica with Mesaba Community Television, who does our televising for us, they put this together. So probably not perfect, and it's going to take a little bit to get through this. And but seemed to work good this morning at the department head meeting. So we'll get through it. I think the best thing you can do is if you have a question or you want to chime in on something, just say Mr. Mayor Fauci or Mr. Mayor Campbell or something like that, and I'll give you plenty of time. We'll take it nice and easy, nice and slow, and try to get everything in here that we can. Any questions at this point before we start the reports? Okay, so we're going to move on to our reports. I'll start with Councillor Lance. Do you have a report tonight? No report, Adam. You can, you'll have to turn your
No
volume on.
report, sorry, I was trying to get my mute on here.
Yep,
so-
no problem.
I'm sorry. Take
Yep, no
care.
problem. Counselor Campbell report tonight.
I have no report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Counselor Baki report tonight.
Trying to find the mute button.
Just one thing on my end.
Yeah, and I lost the picture, so I'm saying.
Are you good, Jim? Okay, the only thing I have is,
Just scroll.
even, we'll see where things lie when summer starts, but as of right now, we do have a new men's softball team that's gonna join our league. So that'll bring our league to 5 men's teams. And we're looking for one more to cap it at 6 for this summer if we get that going. So that's all I have.
Good. Counselor Fountain report tonight.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, city councilors and the folks at home. I know this is something new and we're trying and we're doing the best that we can, so bear with us. Thank you. I'd like to just give a quick shout out to my husband. Happy 35th birthday, Reggie Fountain. So that's one thing. Also, as you all know, that Governor Waltz put into place a stay-at-home order, as you all are aware. Just to let the citizens of Chisholm know what a stay-at-home order is. It directs Minnesotans to limit the movement outside of their homes beyond essential needs. By this limiting social interactions, we decrease the chance of transmission of the COVID-19 and help our healthcare sector prepare for increased demands. Please visit for more information. Go to minnesota.gov for more information. I also want to let the people know of Chisholm. Chisholm is working with many different people, communities, agencies, all of our, we just want to make sure to secure the health, safety, and awareness of our citizens. We're doing the best that we can, and and right now with the resources that we have available, and we'll continue to let you know what's going on in our community. There's some Chisholm businesses now that have curbside ordering and delivery, so you still can utilize those businesses, and we just encourage you to do that. So thank you, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email any of the counselors, our city administrator, and our mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, April.
Thank you.
Jim, report tonight.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. I don't have any, except this is kind of quite a different format for us. I got my handy dandy gavel. I'm improvising a little bit. Be able to pound some nails with it later or something, or put a hubcap on. So, but I don't really have anything. This is kind of an interesting deal. That's all I can say. And hopefully people are listening and kind of trying to isolate themselves a little bit. This virus seems to be moving into our area, and hopefully we can keep a little bit on the outside here by doing that. So that's all I really have. So let's move on to our officials here. We'll start out with Andy. Do you have a report tonight at all?
Good evening, counselors and mayor and staff members. I don't have a formal report. I just wanted to let everybody know things are going well working from home. I do have something on the planning commission meeting for the first meeting in April, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to meet then. If not, I guess we're going to have to go from there and see what. Does anyone have any questions of me?
I have none.
Yes.
Good.
Nope, I have none.
Oh, okay.
Andy, I have one question.
Yes.
This is Councilor Baki. What is the status of that pigeon house on 3rd Avenue and 4th Street?
Yep. Currently, right now, account specialists out of Cloquet are doing the abatement on it. So it's in the process of getting cleaned out. And then the owner wants to get some estimates on what it's going to be to rehab it. I do have to give them that chance to rehab the building before going through any condemnation. But regardless, it has to be abated, whether they remodel it or whether we tear it down. But that's currently the status on it right now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Council, anything else for Mandy? Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
City Engineer Jim, report tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of staff. I have no formal report other than what's on the council agenda unless you have questions for me.
Council? Okay, thank you, Jim. We'll move on. Public Works, Larry?
Hi. Hi, everyone, council, mayor, administrator Manny, staff. I have to stay over here because I don't have good cell phone service. So the iPad quits when I move away. So if I have a weird view, I apologize. But, you know, no formal report except that, you know, we're adjusting constantly to the changing, you know, work environment, work rules. You know, driving separate vehicles, maintaining a 6-foot distance. You know, we don't sit in the break room and have our little meeting in our chat in the morning. We stand out in a big circle and shop. And nothing other than that to report besides what's in the council agenda. Questions for me? We're in between seasons, you know. Gonna start sweeping tomorrow. We're grinding stumps. The rain's coming. That'll help wash a few things down, and grass will start to turn green here shortly. But any questions for me, I'm willing to take them.
Larry, Mayor, why don't you mention our new truck?
Oh, yeah, we got a new sewer truck. We ordered it early. All the plants are shut down. We were actually worried about it being stuck in transit, but half of it is, and half of it got here. But to Councillor Varda's a joy there. We ordered a white truck and we got a red truck. so Councillor Varda wins out on this one again. That he doesn't care for white, so now we got red. And again, Chris Manor, the operator there, the sewer operator, he owns a Dodge truck and he owns a red truck, so he was just fine with it. And instead of sending it back, there's no price difference or anything like that. He just elected that we would like to keep the truck and get it built as spec'd and move forward. So that was our Monday. You know, you order a white truck, and you get a red truck. So I'm glad it wasn't pink or yellow or something, but it's more normal, I guess. Wasn't expecting to see a fire truck, but it's here. The rest of it is transit. You know, we're hoping to get that utility body, that work body put on, you know, with the, on the back there and stuff like that. It'll be sitting on the dealer lot there ready to go. So.
Perfect. Yeah, you probably have to wait 6 months to get a new one. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all the plants are down right now. So.
All right, Council, anything else for Larry before we move on?
Hey, Larry, this is Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, can we get Chisholm blue lettering for the truck now?
Boy, that's maybe some blue pinstriping in the streak. How about a blue streak?
That's fine.
That'll break it up.
We'll take that out of Jim's budget.
That's fine.
Right?
Okay. All right, we'll move on. Thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
Fire Chief Bob, welcome back.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Honorable Mayor, council members, city administrators, city attorney, staff members, and the public. The department's been very busy. We've had 45 calls to date, 14 this past month. I got home last Friday. I'm in day 5 of my 14-day recommended quarantine. Then I get to go back to my high-risk positions, which should be interesting. I've tried to limit as much activity with my staff. We've gotten skeleton crews down with the Monday maintenance. We're really looking at adjusting when we do offer mutual aid or really needed and on the fire ground. So it offers us a lot of challenges. I think a lot of the information that's been coming out of the City Hall to the staff, please share that with your staff. From Bill and Margaret, it's great information. Even today, I got an email from the Red Cross. They're stopping their program as far as we've been partnered with them with doing the smoke detector installations. Monday night, the department was faced with one of what I always consider the big three. We had a fire that started in the kitchen area. You know, the way we keep ourselves warm, the way we prepare food, and open flame is the big three that starts fires. We've been doing these types of meetings weekly with our ambulance service. I was on several of these when I was gone with 5 bugles and designing our public safety building. I think the people that are most at risk at this time is our police department and ambulance service. We have to make that direct contact with the public, which can be unknown. I think it's very important at this time we take care of ourselves, our family, and our staff. And I'm glad Councillor Fountain, you brought up just the importance of washing our hands. And I think social is wrong, social distancing. I think we should be physical distancing and stay in touch, whether it's through this type of thing or calling on the phone or whatever with people. So, and our chaplain's been very helpful with us during these challenging times. So, any questions for the fire department?
Council? Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Nice tan, by the way.
Thank you.
Library, good evening.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So I'll first start off with, I was able to put a link for our council meeting tonight on Facebook. It seems to be working, so everything's live. So hopefully we have some individuals at home with us tonight. ALS is working on scheduling a teleconference next week with the library directors in our area. After that conversation, I'm hoping to have some more answers about what libraries are doing moving forward. Debbie and Michelle recently took a webinar about managing paper-based items. And it looks like there's really no concern about books being a transmitting point for the COVID-19. Porous materials seem to have a very weak survival rate. So that definitely seems to open up a few doors in terms of curbside pickup is something that we've been discussing for our patrons, looking into the future. I know a lot of our patrons are sitting at home and hoping that books will be available soon. And so that is something that libraries are looking into, and hopefully I'll have some more answers by next week. That's all I have.
Thank you, Katie. Council, any questions on any of that? Good job with the Facebook thing.
All right, thank you.
Gotta keep everybody involved. All right, we'll move on. Police Chief. Good evening, Vern.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick update on the PD. Spirits remain good. Everybody's healthy, thankfully. The 2 officers we had on field training are now on full crew, so our overtime's going down, so people are getting some time off, which is helping with spirits. And they're, trying to keep the social distancing, but yet provide the service that we provide. Our call load is increasing with people staying at home and being sheltered in. People are looking for someone to talk to, and some other things are coming about, but our call load is increasing, but nothing we can't handle right now, and we're staying healthy. So we're happy for that. Things are plugging away.
Thank you, Vern. Council, any questions of the chief?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for the chief of police. This is Jim.
Yep.
Hi, Vern.
Hi.
How's Buell going?
Buell's going really good. Like we predicted, the parking tickets, once we got people educated for them, they went way down. There's no complaints on any of that, even the parking or anything. Gearing up to start the blight process there like we do it here. But in contact with Ryan, the administrator over there, almost daily, and everything's going pretty good. So not an issue. Giving them plenty of service and a few calls here and there. I'll send a written report in one of the things about in one of the agendas about the calls, but everything's going well.
Okay, thanks.
Bet.
Yeah, Vern, we're going to want to do have a kind of a review of that thing about, what did we figure about June or something? Because we need to be able to convey to Buell if price is going to stay the same or go up, go down, whatnot. So,
Correct.
so at some point, we'll get back to that.
Right.
Perfect.
Looking
Don't say
forward
anything
to it.
else for Vern? Nice background. You're in the mountains today?
Well, I'm over Fish House and Snowmobile over there, so gotta take advantage of this nice weather.
Yeah, okay. All right, thanks, Vern. Rec Director Tammy, you got a report tonight?
Just a quick one. Hello, council. Hope everyone's doing well and continue to be healthy. The skating shack, we've started to empty that building out, get the power turned off, gas turned off, and the public works will start the demo. We will be reclaiming and reusing the products of the building that we can. So that's a good thing. As you all may know, our playgrounds are now closed. That does not include parks. It only includes playgrounds. We had some posters put up, and then I think Larry put up some caution tape just to make it more visual to our community not to use the playgrounds. We've extended the summer rec applications till April 7th and soccer registration till April 6th. I don't know if soccer will be a go or not, but we're just gonna go as it is, and if not, we'll return people's money. Right now, when people are calling me, I'm just telling them just to send in their registration and don't send a check, although I do have some checks in my office, or we do have some checks that we've cashed. But that's about it for me right now, unless you have any questions.
Council questions of Tammy? Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
City Attorney Brian, any report tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. No formal report, but I am happy to field any questions the council may have.
Brian, I do have a quick one. I got an email last night from the individual that's opening a smoke shop in Chisholm, wondering if there were any laws, ordinances against having the facility open 24 hours per day, should they decide to do that. Anything that comes up in your mind on that, or is there any restrictions there?
Off the top of my head, Mayor, I can't think of any restrictions on a tobacco shop, although clearly they're subject to Executive Order 2020, depending on how their service falls out. But moving into when we're back in regular or more normal times, there's nothing that jumps to me, but I will take a look at it and I'll get a memo over to on it.
Thank you, Brian. Council, anything else for the attorney? Thank you, Brian. City Administrator Bill, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilors. I have a few things. I'll be brief. I just wanted to thank our Deputy Clerk Eileen and Terry Artica of Wasabi Television for making this meeting possible. Second thing is there is a lot going on with COVID-19. I am here to help in any way I possibly can. So anything that comes up, I'm receiving information daily that I'm sending out to all of you. And if anything comes up, anything I can do to help, please let me know. Third thing, I have to make a correction. I sent out on Sunday, I sent that memorandum out to everybody, just giving a update on a number of things. And between the mayor and me, we received some conflicting information from the IRRB regarding the Redhead Mountain Bike Park and when that was going to open. And so I need to make a correction to what I sent out on Sunday. The IRRB is now looking at an amendment, number one, to the Joint Powers Agreement. This was sent out to Attorney Lindsay and me, and what they're looking to do is open the trail that has been completed on or before June 12th. So there is some work and some things that that we need to do there. Just receive this information, so we will be working on that and get back to you. Last thing I have is that the Curling Club raffle that was originally scheduled for April 16th due to COVID-19. They're asking it to be postponed till July 9th at the same location, Tom and Jerry's. With that, Mr. Mayor, I will be happy to take any questions.
Bill, I don't have a question for you, but maybe for the chief Manor, as part of what you just said, do they have to reapply for that gambling permit?
Mr. Mayor, they've been in contact with the gambling, Minnesota State Gambling Board, and they will just redo a permit, changing the date and time, sticking with the same location.
Okay, good. You're already on it.
It happened.
Council, anything else for the administrator? Okay, we'll move on.
Lance here.
Oh, go ahead, Councilor Lance.
No, Bill, obviously it goes without saying with the redhead. I was gonna say with, a June 12th opening, there's obviously a lot of signage, safety issues that they're definitely gonna have to make sure is in place before I think we're able to vote on anything up there. So I just say keep that in the back of your mind.
Yep, we will. Thank you.
Hi, this is Councillor Fountain. I just want to thank Bill for being very, very transparent and getting all of us on board, and Margaret for setting up the emails and letting us know what's going on and how to do things, and Eileen as well. So I want to thank those particular people because they've been very on top of things. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Council, anything else? All right, Bill, thanks. We'll move on then. All right, so we'll move on to consent agenda. These are the list of bills, communications, which are the Airport Authority minutes, Police Commission minutes, Chisholm Chamber membership certificate, Chisholm Chamber newsletter, Chisholm Community Foundation communication, MediaCom communication, St. Louis County Youth in Action communication, minutes of the previous City Council meeting of March 11th, 2020, the regular meeting, payroll and overtime. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Varda will make a motion.
Okay, is there a second for that motion?
Councilor Campbell will second that.
Okay, seconded by Councilor Campbell. Margaret, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Councillor Lance. Councillor Lance.
Aye.
Councillor Fountain.
Aye.
Aye.
Councillor Varda.
Aye.
Councillor Vaki.
Aye.
Councillor Campbell.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Thank you, Margaret. We'll move on to new business. Larry, LED streetlight globes project update.
All right, first up. All right, I appreciate you sticking with me here as I huddle over in the corner. Sorry for the view there. If I could start with, I apologize, my note was buried by my council packet here. The casual labor, looking forward to your sons, daughters, friends, applications to come through so we can fill all those positions we have this year. A very busy year. With everything going on right now, it is on my mind a lot that we want to make every effort to get those 16 casual laborers done that you approved earlier last month. It just, when you think about all the labor, all the things, all the little special projects that gets done in the summer with those casual laborers, it's just tremendous. And I just want to, please get those applications in. So it's my understanding, I wasn't here when they did the hiring last year, but, we asked for 16, got 14, and ended up with kind of 12, with the kids leaving early, that type of thing like that. So, please encourage those applications to get in. So we really need them.
When's it due?
Okay, so thank you. So allowing me to share this with you. The council supported this project last year. I really appreciate it. It was one of my bigger first projects, and I don't have a lot of experience with LED lighting, but a lot more now. And it was a $17,000 project, if you remember, when we did the LED lamp upgrade here up on Lake Street and then all the way down 3rd Avenue past the Lucky 7th. And $17,000 project. And in your packets there, you'll see the reports generated by our friends at Minnesota Power. Just the amount of savings and electricity cost, the project will pay for itself in just 1 month over 2 years. I think it was 25 months. The project will pay for itself in electricity. And to throw a couple numbers at you, the annual savings just in electricity is almost $8,000. Really a no-brainer project. I appreciate everybody's support in letting us do it. And I have just 2 years is remarkable. I did not even think we could make our money back in 2 years. So really excited about that. And then excited to share some future projects right along those lines. So.
Larry,
questions, comments about that?
Larry, just to end around, I think Travis had a question about the whole casual labor thing. He tried to chime
sure,
in.
yeah. Yeah.
When's the application due, Larry?
April 15th, and if Margaret could help me, I think we're really lenient on that, though. If we don't have enough, I think we kind of leave it open. Is that correct, Margaret? I'm still learning the ropes on that part of it.
Yes, Larry, that's correct. You can extend the application process after the 15th.
Hey, Margaret?
Yes.
Is there an age limit on that?
They must be 18 years old by May 1st.
Okay.
Because they will be operating city vehicles and so on. And they do need a valid driver's license.
Okay.
Okay, Larry, you can move on, I guess, to the next one then if you're done, if the council.
Okay, so I did want to mention that just besides the obvious benefit of the money, I mean, surely, again, remarkable there, we can get $8,000 in savings annually. It pays for that whole project in just over 2 years. But besides that, that project is now new. These bulbs are changeable. We used to have to hire a local electrician, which is fine, to change these bulbs. But now these new bulbs, they're changeable by our own folks, and we can do them when time allows like that. But that project being new, being 100% functional now, our employees are doing other things. We're not constantly chasing these bulbs around and things like that, and scheduling, the boom truck with electrician, those types of things. So besides the obvious benefit of the cost savings, it's really, for me, it's not having to worry about these now, and we're on to other things, including the LED upgrades in the future. All right, well, that brings me to page 29 then. I didn't even know when we did the project that this is eligible through rebates at our friends at Minnesota Power there. And they are right now evaluating our application for rebates on all the bulbs that we did. So beyond the savings, possible rebates, a rebate check coming back to the city as well.
Good deal.
I submitted, so just a couple numbers for you. I submitted rebates on 316 bulbs. That's what we upgraded. We were able, I know Councillor Campbell requested the lamps up at the entrance to the mining museum up there. We were able to upgrade those to LED for the same cost. And then the Lake Walk, Tammy would remember the number. I want to say it was like 5 out of 16 that were actually functional, and now we have 16 out of 16. So we were able to add them too. So there's additional savings out there too, by the way. And I did add those to the rebate application. And then any questions about, that's really the big part in my packet is the LED upgrade that we did. And then I'm also right now crunching the numbers on an LED upgrade at the senior center. There's quite a bit of usage up there. There's folks there every day visiting and cooking and everything that they do at senior center. So I'm currently doing a justification right up on the senior center because we have some lamps that are out right now. And I think upgrading to LED beyond the savings and the rebates that are out there is the huge cost savings, and to be at 100% working again, and not to have them callbacks and and those high call out numbers. But other projects that you would like to see, one big one I know we have to look at, and that'll be the next on my list, is the Iron Man. Those are some huge lamps at the Iron Man, and they're so huge it's hard to research a LED lamp for them. So I'm going to look into that next, and any others, I'm welcome to suggestions or anything like that.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Campbell.
Yep, go ahead.
I have a question for Larry. You're talking about the Iron Man, Larry. Doesn't that helmet have a light in it also that maybe we could get working when you do this LED upgrade in the future?
We can look into that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I did look into it once already, and the crane rental is just what kind of kicks you on that. Nobody has a crane around. City having Minnesota Power doesn't even have a crane north of Duluth or a boom truck. My apologies there, a boom truck. And it wasn't a matter of just changing a bulb either. Ryan of Independent Electric had some history on that with his dad there, and he couldn't remember exactly if the wire was bad that was going up to it, but you're right. It has a bulb had working at one time, and I think if we do a project there, we should try to get it 100% functional again. I think it would certainly add to it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot. So I mean,
I would. I don't.
So thank you.
Yeah, I think we should include it. And frankly, I'll bring it to the council here because it's one of them things that isn't budgeted right now. So we'll have to, if the council chooses that we should go after some of these projects, I'll do the numbers for you and show you the payback, and if we can afford it, and if you choose, we'll move forward with them.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Larry, this is Travis. How about the volleyball sand court lights? And then I would assume there's going to be lights for the new pickleball courts when those are functional too.
The one thing I've learned is you really want to go after your high usage areas first. We can look at those, but I'm going to guess that if they're being used once a week for 2 hours, I think it's going to be one of them projects where it would take us 25 years or 40 years to pay off the investment usually. By the time you got to rent a boom truck and you got to have a contractor, and that's why I went after like the senior center. I usually check in with Bill daily at City Hall there, and I see the cars there. It's sometimes 5 a.m. or something if we come in early to plow, and so that's why I kind of went to senior center next, and then the Iron Man because of the high usage. Those projects, if we were going to put a bunch of money into them, and I'm no expert, I'm still learning on this. I think it's well worth it because of the maintenance free, but you definitely want to go after those high usage areas first, if that makes sense.
Larry, Mayor, do people do the street lights themselves? What do they call them? The big heads that are over, all over town.
The Minnesota Power, we're under contract with Minnesota Power. They do them, and they were going to have them all switched over by early spring here for us to LED. There was some money that they got awarded through some program down at the Public Utilities Commission, and I wasn't more efficient for detail as I was as a timeline, but that was before this COVID-19. And I wouldn't have an idea in the world, and I even hate to ask if they're still going to come. But we will get our pricing will go down on that also with the installation of LED street lamps all over town. There was a not an evaluation, but almost an audit. Are we being charged for 200 and only have 160 that are working, or that type of thing? There was a complete audit that was involved, and I think the city will see some big savings off of that also.
Okay. Just one other question. Are you thinking at some point to bring upgrades to our, what do they call them, semaphores down by Valentini's area down there, so they match the ones the state did at some point down the road? I don't know if a lot of, I'm sure the council has seen them that day, state came in and redid those. So I was curious if, you know, a couple meetings from now, we'll see some prices for that, or if you think we should wait a year or.
Oh, yeah, I thought I sent you an email on that. I got a quote. I got it right here. I think it's $2,700. Or no, I apologize. That was for one side. That was for north, south, east, west. I think it was 4,700 total. If you want the crosswalk lighting to match and the newer lighting that the state just did at the intersection of 3rd Avenue there in Lake Street by the fire hall and library and keyboard and the bank. That's with the hand now, and yeah. I think it was $4,700.
I just brought it up for the council's sake, that they know that you've been looking into that.
Yep. Yeah, it's all ready to go. It's all spec'd. Parson, when they were here, I asked for the designer or whatever, and I got a hold of the designer in Duluth, and I got a quote. I got all the spec, and he actually just sent me an email the other day, asked me if there's anything new on it, and I said, I sent it to the mayor and see if they want to, because it's another unbudgeted item, you know, so.
Yep. All right, council, anything else on that? If not, we'll move on to the next item. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Chief Manor, did you want to take this item? The resignation of Matt Nelson?
I certainly can, Mr. Mayor. And in front of you, we just need a resolution. Matt has finally gone through he had ended up with a disability work related, and he is finally going to be off the books. And this is his final resignation from the city of Chisholm. And I just want to thank him for his years of dedicated service. He was a good officer and a great friend.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Campbell.
Councilor Campbell. You know, I would like to accept the resignation from Officer Matt Nelson, but I do want to express to everybody that we appreciate his dedication and years of service and to our community. He definitely will be missed. It's a huge loss for the city of Chisholm, but I move that we accept his resignation.
This is Councilor Fountain. I'll second that. And thank you for your years of service, Matt Nelson. Officer Matt Nelson.
Officer Matt, if you're a little kid that did the safety tone, he was famous back in the day. Yeah, gonna miss the guy. Council, if there's no other discussion, I'll have Margaret take a roll call vote on accepting that resignation. All right, Margaret, go ahead.
Councillor Lance?
Aye.
Councillor Fountain?
Aye.
Councillor Vaki?
Aye.
Councillor Varda?
Aye.
Councillor Campbell?
Aye.
And Mayor Champa?
Aye. All right, the motion passes. Thank you, Vern. Jim Johnson, jump up to the podium.
I am here, Mayor.
Item number 1, fee amendment for 3rd Street, 4th Street Northwest feasibility study. Give us a little rundown on that, guy.
Sure, thank you very much. As you're aware, about a month ago, council action at your first meeting in March, we accepted the feasibility study for that 3rd Street, 4th Street Northwest Infrastructure Improvement Project. The request from SEH is an amendment to their fee amounting to $4,500. What happened as you go through and read the feasibility study is that you'll see there's a number of alternatives that we had to start considering from when this project got initiated late last year. Basically, the soil borings, we're finding there's either boulders or we suspect it's actually bedrock in that area. As you go through the feasibility, you'll see that the basic project is really along 3rd Street Northwest, west from 7th Avenue. The issue there is how that sanitary sewer outlets. And if you look at the exhibits on the feasibility study, you'll see that the outlet actually starts along 3rd Street just to the east of 8th Avenue. diagonals to the northeast up to the alley, passing under a couple houses, goes east along that alley about 1 block, then goes north another half block to get up to the 4th Street alignment before it goes back to the east over to 7th Avenue. I suspect that particular routing was done because when they got ready to construct that years ago, probably back in the 30s or 40s, they were trying to avoid the bedrock that we found, and it was probably before those houses got built. Well, by doing the soil borings, and then Larry and his crew with Chris Manor and Leon and so forth, we've gone out there and done televising as much as we could do along all of that sanitary sewer existing alignment, both along 3rd Street and along this outlet routing. And basically it's all junk. We're quite surprised that it's even still flowing. In looking at that sanitary sewer, we weren't able to really televise very much because the old clay pipe was continuing to collapse. So as a result of that, we had to start looking at a number of alternatives of how do we get sanitary sewer off of 3rd Street. And that's what you'll see in the feasibility report when you have a chance to review it and when we move forward with that project in the future. Right now, we've got everything on hold regarding it. But Matt Reed pretty well summarizes the additional work that they had to do because of this bedrock and because of what we were finding with the sanitary sewer. We were hopeful by televising that maybe we could put in a plastic liner within that existing pipe, but it's in such poor shape, basically failed shape, that we're not able to do that. So that's the reason, and as a result, I would recommend approval of this fee amendment to be paid on an hourly basis with a maximum cost not to exceed an additional $4,500. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Fountain.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion for the fee amendment for 3rd Street, 4th Street Northwest feasibility study, cost not to exceed $4,500.
Okay, motion by Councilor Fountain. Is there a second for that?
I'll second that. This is Councilor Campbell.
Okay, second by Councilor Campbell. Further discussion? Roll call vote, Margaret?
Counselor Lance. Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Thank you. Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Counselor Varda.
Aye.
Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
And Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Moving on, change order number 6 for the 8th Street Northwest Infrastructure Replacement Project. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This change order is the final one and preludes our final application, which is our next item on the agenda. But basically, this change order is for extra work that our utility contractor had to perform on this job, really after he had finished his portion of the construction. What happened over the winter of 2018-19 was that we had a couple of our water services freeze. To explain, as Matt Reed lays out in the change order that you'll see on page 37, one of those was to the east of Highway 73 or 3rd Avenue, where we had only done some spot repairs, some manhole replacements, and basically we're doing a mill and overlay. The freezing was not the responsibility, or it wasn't a design error, it was not a construction error. What happened is our public works crews take care of turning on and shutting off the mainline valves when this stuff is happening. Inadvertently, the mainline valve did not get turned back on after the services were resumed. And basically we had a dead end line with very little water flowing in it. And as a result, that water service froze. We didn't discover that the valve had not yet been turned on until after we had excavated, insulated that service, which had never frozen in the past. Probably if that valve would have been on, in all likelihood, it wouldn't have frozen. But the other one is in the 600 block of 8th Avenue. When they were installing the storm sewer through that area, it had to be redesigned because it was going right through a sanitary sewer service, which we never know exactly what depth that was at. In relaying the sanitary sewer, they did not expose the water service, didn't realize how close we were. And again, with the cold air coming, I guess the storm sewer was actually had to be above that water service, and there was enough cold air going through that storm sewer, enough low flow in that house service that it froze. Not a design error, not a responsibility or a fault of the contractor. So I would recommend approval of that change order in the amount of $4,613. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Campbell. Sorry. I was gonna make the motion to go ahead and approve the change order number 6 for the amount of $4,613.
Is there a second for that?
This is Councilor Fountain. I'd like to second that with a question.
Sure.
For Jim. So the mainline valve was not turned back on.
Correct.
Was this something of our public service department that was supposed to turn back on before the water service froze?
Yes, they turn on and turn off all mainline valves. We don't allow the contractors to operate our valves on the mainline system.
So is our public service department aware that this was something that they had to do, or were they not aware of that?
No, they were aware of it because between Leon and Lucas, they're on the jobs, checking on the contractors. Contractors contact them. They had to be out there to turn it on, and the contractor finished the work, initially, probably within 1 or 2 days when they did the spot repair at that general location. So he had it done, and within a matter of days. It was just an oversight, I would suspect.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm assuming Larry's taking notes about that right now too.
He's aware of it.
Just so he can be more careful next time. Okay, so we do have motion and support.
I wasn't here when this happened, John. Yeah, this was previous.
I expected that.
Thank you.
If there's no other discussion, I'll have Margaret take a roll call vote.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Counselor Varda.
Aye.
Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion carries. We'll move on to the next item. Final pay application number 8 for the 8th Street Northwest Infrastructure Replacement Project. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We thought we had completed all this back in November, but because of this change order that came forward that the subcontractor had given to the main contractor, and he had misfiled it. But as the contractor was not signing the last pay application, which we thought was going to be the final, basically they were finding discrepancies. So here, probably 6 weeks ago, we had them provide us documentation. We had the inspector, the engineering company go back through their files. We got together and went through where we had discrepancies, and basically it was just adjustments in quantities plus this change order. So what you have before you on page 44 is the final pay application, number 8, I believe. And as you'll see in the upper right-hand corner on page 55, we had already released the retainage back in November. So this, I'm recommending payment of this final pay application number 8 in the amount of $21,038.95. And With that, with council approval, that will commence the 1-year warranty period as well. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
This is Counselor Fountain. I'd like to make a motion for the final pay application number 8 for the 8th Street Northwest Infrastructure Replacement Project.
In the amount of $21,038.95.
Correct.
Is there a second for that?
Oh, this is Counselor Bakia. I'll second that for discussion.
Continue, Travis.
So Jim, I haven't, like I said, I'm still new to all this, but it seems to me that no matter what project that goes on, there's 8 change orders that increases our project total in an ungodly amount. And how come, I guess I want you to explain to me why when a project is agreed upon, why all of a sudden it's $100,000 more expensive for us, which we don't have.
On this one, Travis, there's a couple things. While we had the contractor on the project, we had a portion of 9th Street, just a block to the north, over by the church, if I remember. I believe that was, what, about the 400 or 500 blocks that we had them do an overlay on that as well. On this particular project, as well as on Lakeview, a number of the change orders were reflecting changes in oil prices, and then we also had some penalties with the oil refinery fire down in Superior. What was that, in 2018 or 2019? Supplies changed. There was another change order where we went to use of recycled asphalt pavement in the surfacing, which was a deduct. There was a price increase, and then we also had some penalties because it didn't make air voids. About half of the change orders on these couple projects involved the asphalt, and we're dealing with the reuse of recycled asphalt, the change in pricing because of the fire, and then the penalties and so forth. So they weren't all ads. There's a number of them that are deducts as well. Then the other stuff, I know on the 8th Street project, trying to think if that was in the 400 block, I believe, we found an old filling station gas tank that required environmental cleanup and monitoring and so forth that we certainly didn't know about, didn't suspect. That was a change order on this project. I don't remember specifically, Travis, what they were, but the basic bottom line item, as you'll see in going through the pay application, is we bid it on what we call a bid item unit price basis. We estimate the quantities. They give us a unit price on those, and then we actually pay for the actual quantity used, whether it's more or less. And so anything that's not a specific bid item or something that's uncovered that we have no knowledge of, or, you know, the result like this freezing water services that are no fault of the contractor or of design, become change orders. We try to minimize them, but we have to be also transparent, such that if it is a change to the contract language or the bid items, we need to bring those back before council for your approval.
Okay.
Did I answer your question, Travis?
For the most part, I don't know. I just don't like that we have to, every time that you find a little crook and cranny that's not listed in the contract, we have to pay for it. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I understand, but I think if you'll go back and look at the change orders, especially on this project and on Lakeview, about half of those change orders resulted because of that fire, deduct because of use of recycled asphalt pavement as opposed to virgin, and then we had the deducts as well because of not meeting the spec on air voids. All those require a change order.
We do seem to add a little to every project too. You find something that just makes sense to go quarter block or something to make a transition or something weird like that too. So,
We did the same thing on Lakeview when we had really finished the project within the subdivision, that we had pretty well torn up Lake Street, and we did move forward then and added to the project to do that mill and overlay on Lake Street to try and improve that whole neighborhood as well. So,
Councillor Campbell.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, 8 years I've been on this council, and there's always change orders. There's no way you're gonna get away from them. How little, how big, whatever. I mean, there's always stuff that comes up, unforeseens, that you can never, ever, you know, as much planning you wanna do ahead of time, you're never gonna plan for the unforeseens. It's just, it's the nature of the beast. So just wanted to say that.
yeah, the fuel tank there along 8th Street is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, well, some of these projects, this is the first time the streets have been dug up and since the town was built. So, what do you do? Okay, we do have motion and support for final pay application, I believe. Margaret, could you take roll call if there's no other conversation?
Councillor Lance. Councillor Lance.
Aye.
Councillor Fountain.
Aye.
Aye.
Councillor Vaki.
Aye.
Councillor Varda.
Aye.
Councillor Campbell.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Councillor Fountain, resolution 0420-31, accept donations from Bearville Township for the library.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to make a motion for resolution 0420-31, an amount of $100, and also send a thank you letter to them. And also I would like to have this earmarked for the funds for the Chisholm Public Library.
Okay, motion by Councillor Fountain
I'll second that. This is Councilor Varda.
to adopt resolution 0420-31, seconded by Councillor Barda. Just a discussion on my point. Do they use our library, April, or how does, why do they, you know, I love the donation, but I don't, they're kind of way up in the woods up there. So I didn't really know how this all fit together.
I'd like Katie to speak on this if she will. Thank you.
Sure. Hello. The treasurer of Bearville Township, he does use our library, and he confronted me, this was last year, and this year he did the same thing, and asked if I would write a letter of request to Bearville Township, and I wrote a letter both years, and both years they awarded us $100.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have motion and support. Is there any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote, Margaret.
Councillor Lance.
Aye.
Councillor Fountain.
Aye.
Councillor Vaki.
Aye.
Councillor Varda.
Aye.
Councillor Campbell.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion passes. Moving on. Bill, Ironbound Studios amounts payable to cure default.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I would like to refer you to pages 49 and 50. Page 49, I mentioned in a memo that there was a meeting that took place on February 27th here in the council chambers with representatives of Ironbound and Attorney Lindsay and me. And this was after Attorney Lindsay had served the notice of 60-day period to cure default. And there was some clarification that Ironbound had requested regarding the amount of the payment. So if you'd please turn to page 50 in your packet, most of the numbers are pretty straightforward. When you look at rent at $700 a month, it's a straightforward number. the CDA loan payment is a straightforward number. Minnesota Energy is a straightforward number. The number that was not straightforward was the fire suppression system, that the work and the repair work that was done on the fire suppression system. So Attorney Lindsay and I were asked to provide back to Ironbound the amount of money for the fire suppression system. So what you see on page 50 is my recommendation on the fire suppression system. There's 3 items: the repair of the broken water valve of $1,871, and the wet side valve assembly riser, which that would be on the east side of the building, $8,428. And the dry side valve assembly risers, there's 2 of those, which are on the west side of the building, and the cost for those was $26,953. And the best way I can describe what these are, in buildings or homes where the water system comes into the building, so where your main comes into the building or into your house, that's what these valve systems are. And the way it was explained to me by the contractor, and this becomes, in my opinion, a safety item, and why I'm recommending that this be part of the cost. So these lines, these mains that come in for the sprinkler system, I believe were 12-inch lines coming in. And what happens when those things freeze, you could get little cracks in those pipes. And sometimes you can see them, sometimes you don't, but basically the system's compromised. So let's say there happened to be a fire in the facility, and we have fire personnel fighting the fire, first responders that happen to be there, what have you. If those mains were to burst, and you can imagine you got a 12-foot steel pipe that were to burst, the force of that could unfortunately cause bodily damage to somebody. So it became a matter of we just, in my opinion, we needed to replace those mains. So that's where the fire suppression system dollar amount that I'm recommending of $37,252 comes from. If you look down to the bottom under notes, the total paid on the fire suppression system is $72,378.40. The difference being the replacement of the sprinkler heads, which were not a direct result of the system freeze. The sprinkler heads in the system downstairs, there's over 1,000 sprinkler heads in the lower level of this building. And it was recommended that those be replaced along with the other repairs to the system. But that is not a direct result of the freeze. So therefore, those aren't included. So my recommendation to the council, as far as a dollar amount to provide back to Ironbound under the 60-day cure, is the grand total that I have listed there on page 50, the $62,925.49, which is made up of rent, the CDA loan payments, the Minnesota Energy bills that have been paid by the city, and the repairs to the fire suppression system. In all reality, since we're into April now, there's another month really that could be added to the rent and to the CDA loan payment. So that would be, in effect, another $1,700 for a total of $64,625.49. With that, Mr. Mayor, I would entertain any questions, but I would ask for approval of the amount to provide to Ironbound to cure under the 60-day fault of, I'd like to add April in there, even though it doesn't show. Brian, can I do that? Can I change that dollar amount? Brian?
I apologize. So long as we give appropriate notice, we should be able to adjust those amounts for amounts that come due. Our paperwork contemplated those types of changes.
Okay.
Mr.
So
Mayor?
therefore,
Yes, Counselor Campbell.
So, the $64,625.49 is the amount that's due to the city of Chisholm. Am I understanding that correctly?
that is correct, Counselor Campbell.
So, Mr. Mayor, I want to move that we, go ahead and bill for the $64,625.49.
Second, Counselor Fountain.
Okay, motion by Counselor Campbell and second by Counselor Fountain. I believe we're about 30 days into this 60-day thing too. Would that be correct, Brian?
You're correct, Mayor.
Okay, council, other discussion on that. You have a letter attached as well on the next page of 51. My discussion with the city attorney is that we don't believe that really affects this motion we're making right now. We don't believe the same thing as that communication on 51, and we believe we should just continue forward as we're going right now, unless council would like to take that up.
Brian, Councillor Baki here. All these new executive orders from the governor, none of them would cover them in this letter, would it?
The one issue that may be affected is the moratorium on unlawful detainers or evictions. Should we get to the end and need to bring some sort of an action, move them, we'll have to evaluate where the executive order, I believe it was 2014, stands at that point. But as far as we stand right now, we're in good shape.
Okay.
Yeah, and understand most of these bills happened well before the coronavirus became an issue that we knew of too. So.
Yeah, I get that. I just want to make sure we're covered. I don't want them to come back and say, oh, the governor's executive order said this and that.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Brian too. This is Councilor Varda.
Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Hi, Brian.
Good evening.
Is this amount, they're going to obviously fight this, so is it going to cause another 60-day if they fight this? 60-day, whatever you call it?
I think the best way to answer your question, Counselor, is by saying this. Administrator Manny did kind of present these numbers to me and brought the numbers back, and it's my opinion that these are the number that Administrator Manny has come up with is probably the most legally defensible number that I think we could have come up with. We were very careful to look at causation issues. We were very careful to look at what was out there, and I think that this number, as far as being a defensible number, is as good as it gets.
Okay, but will it cause another 60-day delay? I'm saying if they fight this.
It's hard to answer that question because if there's a contest, if there's a litigation filed, obviously those things can drag on, and I mean, it could delay 60 additional days. It could go longer depending on the types of claims that would be made. I think we've been very careful in this case to take all the right steps, do all the right things. I don't think there's going to be much there for claims. I think we're in a good position, but I couldn't guarantee that they couldn't find a way to add another 60 days or more to it just by seeking redress with the court.
Okay, thank you.
So basically, you're submitting this number to them, but we're still in the same 60 days, which started on February 21st.
Correct. Clarifying this number, it actually is a reduction from the original number listed in the paperwork. It does not reset any timeline.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Council, anything else? If not, I'll have Margaret take a roll call vote.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Hey, Bill, sorry about the next item. I didn't realize it was a completely different item, but, what do you recommend, as part of that letter, that we just send a rebuttal and say, we're not interested, or?
I guess I would like to, Mr. Mayor, defer to Brian if we need a separate vote on that request. Because I guess my understanding, Mr. Mayor, is that the first item was the Ironbound had requested from us the amount to cure the default, which we presented. The second item is a response back to them, asking for an additional 60 days to cure the default. Brian, I'm looking for your guidance. I think these are two separate things.
Mayor, Administrator Manny, you're absolutely correct. The second request that's contained within the correspondence on page 51. This is a separate request, and this is something that has been requested by Ironbound. It is totally within the discretion of the council whether we want to deny their request, accept their request, or make some third modification. It's completely within our discretion. Making a decision to extend obviously would affect running of the 60 days. It would be by the subsequent agreement. As it stands, if we do nothing, the 60 days continues to run from the original date of service.
Mr. Mayor,
Counselor Campbell.
I'd like to make the motion to deny their request.
Support. This is Counselor Bach.
Motion by Counselor Campbell, seconded by Counselor Vaki to deny that request. Further discussion on that item. Margaret, could you take a roll call? We'll send we'll send Brian to let him know that we denied their request.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Thank you, Margaret. Next item, committee to negotiate confidential administrative assistant contracts for Rachel and Margaret. Bill?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the last committee to negotiate the contract for administrative assistants was Brian Lindsay, Vern Manor, Tracy Campbell, and me. I feel that Attorney Lindsay, Vern Manor, and I should be on the committee. We would need one council person to serve on that committee, please.
Is this Counselor Fountain? I'd be willing to serve on that committee.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion? The individuals Bill mentioned along with Counselor Fountain?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion to include Counselor Fountain to that committee.
Second by Counselor Baki. Further discussion? Margaret, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Moving on, the next item is just informational at this point. We have the local Board of Appeals and Equalization coming up April 14th. What that format is going to be is yet to be determined, as you can tell, but it's we know it's coming up, and we're going to need two of the three of us, between myself, Counselor Campbell, or Counselor Varda, as part of that meeting. I'm assuming it's going to be something similar to this, but I guess I don't know that. But informational at that point. Main thing there is that we need to have two of us there. Bill, anything to add to that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would like to clarify on the memo, second paragraph where it says the format of this meeting is yet to be determined. I've been working with the county, and I know that all the council people know we went through this last year, and because of COVID-19, the county, it is acceptable to handle appeals on a written basis only. So the advertisement that went in the newspaper today, if people in the community would like to appeal their valuation assessment on their property, they need to file a written appeal with me. It must be received by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, April 14th. That's 2 hours before the meeting takes place. And then what the intent would be, because of this format of meeting, the way we're handling this meeting, that we would handle the meeting in the same format, but with the St. Louis County people on the teleconference like we're doing now. And we could take up the written requests that come into me. And those written requests, they can either be mailed to City Hall, to attention the administrator at 316 West Lake Street in Chisholm, 55719. They can be emailed to me. My email address is BMANNEY, the @ CI dot the word Chisholm dot MN dot US. Or they can also be dropped off at City Hall. And being that City Hall is closed, we have placed a mail container to the left, right to the left of door number 2 on City Hall, which is the west entrance or the handicapped entrance with the ramp. They can be put also in that mail container right outside of City Hall. Again, that deadline for written appeals is 2 p.m. on Tuesday, April 14th. Our meeting with St. Louis County is scheduled to begin at 4 p.m. that same day, Tuesday, April 14th.
Thank you, Bill. Hey, just a question for everybody listening in. Anybody seen their valuation yet? I'm still waiting. Did they say anything, Bill?
Yes, Mayor. They went out, in my understanding, they went out in the mail last Friday, and people are receiving them. I received some calls, so they're coming in the mail now.
I got mine today.
Okay. So informational at this point, but we will be having a meeting similar to this on April 14th. That we know. Okay, moving on, CDA, EDA, or EDA, CDA line of credit came out of our Economic Development Authority. Bill?
Mr. Mayor, council members, the EDA, CDA is requesting council approval for local businesses. Excuse me.
Did we lose Bill?
Yeah, I'm back, Mayor. What happened? I'm in the council chamber. Somebody needed to be in the council chambers with the sensor, and me not moving or nobody moving, the light went out. So I had to run and do a couple of jumping jacks to get the light to come back on.
Perfect.
So I apologize. So I'm back. So they're requesting, these are for local businesses only. It's a line of credit up to $4,000 for qualifying expenses, which they've identified as real estate taxes, insurance, and public utilities commission payments at 0% interest for up to 1 year, then interest at a rate of 1.5% with monthly payments commencing on May 1st, 2021. Payment schedule based on a 15-year amortization schedule. We have a little bit more work to do on this, but looking for council approval of this request. The work that we have to do has to do with getting a fillable PDF out online with City Hall being closed and a way to people to submit their bills. And a point of clarification is that the money does not go directly to the businesses, that we will pay the EDA, CDA, will pay either the real estate taxes, the insurance, or the public utility bills direct. With that, I'd entertain any questions.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. This is Councilor Fountain.
Okay. Councilor Fountain made a motion.
Yep, EDA, CDA loan deferral recommendations.
Okay, is there a second for that?
I'll second that. This is Counselor Campbell.
Okay, sorry about that. I lost my pen on the ground. Yeah, I think it's a great thing. You know, we don't know how long this is gonna last, and maybe some of our businesses will need this, so. Council, any other questions on that?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Bill. This is Councilor Varda.
Yes, sir.
Bill, maybe I'm wrong, but I was understanding the CDA, EDA were self-governing basically. So why did they need our approval? I'm all for this, but I don't understand why they need our approval for this.
Brian, can you help me out with that?
Thank you, Administrator and Councilor Varda. I think it's just a good practice for something like this to come back before the council if it's going to be a main program of the EDA, CDA. While they are independent bodies, they are actually discharging a function that's delegated by statutes through the municipalities. And so ultimately, if something were to happen with the EDA, CDA, if they were for some reason to fold up or something unforeseen would happen, the city would have to step in or could potentially be asked to step in and kind of take some of the stuff. So having a program like this out, I think is appropriate to bring back to the council for approval or just to make sure that knowledge nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Council, any other questions? Okay, if there's nothing, Margaret, could you take a roll call vote, please?
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Counselor Varda.
Aye.
Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Next item, EDA, CDA current loan deferral. Came from the EDA as well. Bill?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, another request, the council is, or the EDA, CDA is asking council approval of their recommendation to suspend monthly loan payments. And these are for businesses that currently have loans in existence for a period of 6 months due to COVID-19. With that, I will entertain any questions.
Hey, Bill, Brian, this is Counselor Vaki. I can't remember now. What about, how does this affect the ones that are late on payments?
It would affect everybody the same.
They would just be late where they are currently now when we restart.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
Bill, I do have a question. We passed a motion earlier tonight, which would include April. Depending on what date we start this, that number may be wrong that you're submitting to Ironbound, right? Because we wouldn't be expecting the April payment if we made this effective April 1.
Yes, you would be correct, Mayor.
Okay, so just note to council, if we pass that number that Bill would be submitting, Ironbound would be minus that April payment, right? Would that be correct?
That would be correct.
Okay, another great program. Looking for a motion? We don't have one yet, right?
I'll make a motion for loan deferral.
Okay, motion by Counselor Lance. Is there a second for that?
I'll second that. This is Counselor Campbell.
Okay, motion by Counselor, second by Counselor Campbell. Further discussion?
Yeah, I don't want to be a stickler. Did Counselor Fountain actually make a motion for a loan deferral on our last motion instead of the line of credit?
Yes, I did. On accident. So yes, I did. I did do the loan deferral recommendation.
Well, I'm glad somebody's paying attention.
So I have
But
to,
your intent,
but I meant the line of credit. I'm
your
sorry.
intent is the line of credit.
Just line.
And that was the intent of the second.
The line of credit.
Oh,
Yes.
all right. So who made the motion? We get a motion there?
Counselor Lance.
Okay, we have a second for the,
Counselor Campbell made,
deferral.
Counselor Campbell made a second.
Okay, Counselor Campbell. Further discussion?
Gonna do this effective April 1, or are we gonna go May 1 since we already included Ironbound? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd be fine either way, I guess. But since we already did the Ironbound thing, maybe we should just start at May 1.
You know, Travis, I can see where you're coming from. I think April 1, you know, these people are already struggling, you know? I mean, they're all closed. I would rather see Bill adjust that Ironbound number down one payment and just fix it there.
So April through September.
Let's say that again.
So it'd be April through September 2020. 6 months.
April, May, June, July, August, through September, correct.
Okay.
Is that a second?
I already did the second.
Oh, you did a second. Okay, so
That's okay.
it's getting long. It's getting long. We're trying to keep up.
Yeah,
Any
Mr.
other
Mayor?
discussion?
Yeah, Counselor Lance here.
Yep.
On the line of credit, I just think it should be noted that it's for Chisholm commercial businesses. So,
Mr. Mayor, can we get this one done first before we go back to the line of credit one? We already got the motion on the table.
okay.
Okay, Margaret, if there's no other discussion, let's get a vote on this one. Margaret, could you take a vote?
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. So yeah, so I think that was the intent of that motion, was it not, April, that it was for commercial businesses? On your going back and around here on the
Page 54.
on the line of credit.
Line of credit.
That was for commercial businesses.
In the paperwork, I'm just saying that it doesn't say commercial businesses. It says Chisholm businesses adversely affected.
Okay.
So the reason, Counselor Lance here, the reason I bring that up is because Ironbound is a business inside Chisholm. The EDA in our motion, it was commercial. You know, there's certain businesses that are operating in Chisholm that might not, you know, fall into the same. As far as like Ironbound, they're not open to this, you know, type of loan.
So,
Brian, can you chime in and try to clarify what
yeah,
Adam's
thank you.
saying? I'm not sure I'm grasping what he's leading into.
Sure. And the way I understand is that, well, let me start with the language of the document contemplates a business, and it's not overly specific. And what I'm assuming by the comments of Councilor Lance is that the EDA, when they developed this program, maybe had a more specific ideal in mind about what businesses would or would not qualify, or what types of activities businesses need to conduct in order to participate in the program. And I think the motion that was made by the council tonight authorized the program, and I think that it would be within the administration of the program is still going to be within the purview of the EDA CDA. I'm not sure that answers the question.
Mayor Champa, this is Counselor Vaki. I just looked back at our motion that we made, and Adam is correct. In the EDA motion that was made by Adam and seconded by me through the EDA was Chisholm commercial businesses. It is listed in the motion.
Brian, what would you, with that motion, what would fall under a Chisholm commercial business and what wouldn't? because somebody's going to have to make this determination, obviously.
Right. So Mayor, traditionally, the ways that we would use these in legalese, a commercial business is a business that's run for profit, and non-commercial businesses may be things like nonprofits or churches, or where it still has a technical business entity like an LLC or some formal corporate body, but may not necessarily operate in a commercial sphere for the purpose of earning a profit. And so typically, I think we've got to be clear about the way we're using that, because commercial typically just refers to a business for profit, whereas a non-commercial is, something more along the lines of a nonprofit organization.
So ultimately, Brian, the EDA is going to have the right to say yes or no to the businesses that apply for this?
I think, I think the administration of the program would still be within the purview of the EDA, and I think you could develop lending policies.
Okay.
All right. So we don't need to change anything there. We'll move on. Sounds like it'll work for you. Last item under you, Bill, just informational and economic development coordinator. I'll just let you bring everybody up to speed.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just informational that we did receive an additional 8 applications, and all applicants have been contacted to let them know the process is currently on hold due to COVID-19, and new applicants were informed they would be contacted when the process resumes to see if they are still interested in the position.
Bill, this is Travis. I'm tempted to say I'd be willing. I don't know about Councillor Lance and Shannon and Councillor Varda, but is it possible for us to do a Zoom meeting with them? Or if there's a, I think, I don't know, I don't want to lose the right person if we wait.
Councillor Vaki, this Zoom meeting, as of just yesterday or Monday, more so yesterday, just became apparent in how this works. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, we had to switch gears a little bit on how to hold this meeting. So I think we can go back and revisit this. Remember, the council packet came out last Friday, and a lot has changed since last Friday. So I'm not in disagreement that we could look at moving this process forward if we're able to interview people via Zoom or what have you. So we'll need to do some additional work on this.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey, Bill, also,
go ahead.
I would just like to say, if we're to the point where we have that many applicants, I think at least if we go further, I don't know, you, me, my Councillor Baki, and Councillor Varda and Shannon to review and look over the applications, we can at least start that process. So maybe by the next council meeting, April 22nd, we might be able to move forward with interviews and not be 2-3 weeks behind. That's just my feelings.
And Councillor Lance, what we would need to do is to follow the hiring policy, and we would need to score the applications. We already have the scoring sheet based on the previous applicants who are still also current applicants, because the position is currently open. And so our scoring process has been set up so we could move forward in a meeting such as this, a Zoom meeting of our committee, and we could move forward and score those applications and determine who we'd want to interview. And if we can do that via Zoom, we can keep the process moving forward. Up until the last couple of days, I wasn't sure of a process that would work, but this seems to work okay.
Yeah, just my 2 cents worth. This is still on a committee level, so you guys can do whatever you want. It doesn't need, it's informational. If you find a way to interview these people, that's your right. You were charged with doing that as the committee. So if there's a way, there's a will, and bring them back. So.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, thanks, Bill. Okay, so we'll move on to first item under myself, resolution number 0420-32, extends the resolution or by motion last meeting, we declared a local emergency. This is a real resolution that we need to follow that up with and also extend that local emergency. I think we got all the I's dotted and T's crossed in this, and we extended it until March or April 22nd. Reason for that date is my recommendation later in the meeting will be to have our next council meeting on that date and forego the one next week. So be looking for a motion to adopt resolution 0420-32.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Campbell. I'd like to make that motion to move resolution number 0420-32 to declare an emergency and send it to 4/22/2020.
Okay, is there a second for that?
I'll second that. This is Councilor Varda.
Okay, seconded by Councilor Varda. Any other discussion on that item?
April 22nd is my birthday.
April 20th is mine.
All right.
We get one every year.
Yeah.
Margaret, could you take a vote, please, then?
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Resolution 0420-33, Central Line Range Sanitary Sewer District legislative update. Basically, it's housekeeping for that legislation. Not a lot there. A little clarification. So unless there's questions, I'd entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
I'll make that motion to adopt resolution, whatever number it is, 0420-33.
Okay.
Or Councilor Lance.
Seconded by Councilor Lance. Discussion? Okay, Margaret, could you take a vote, please?
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. Accept EDA CDA board member Alita Casey's resignation. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept her resignation and send her a letter thanking her for her time served on the EDA board.
I'll make that motion, Councilor Lance, to accept the resignation of Alita Casey and to send her a thank you. And to say thank you very much.
Is there a second for that?
Support, Counselor Vaki.
Okay, further discussion?
Thank you, Alita.
Margaret, could you take a vote, please?
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye, and thank you, Alita.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion carries. Appointment to the Planning Commission. I've been kind of just letting anything that was open just kind of carry over so we can fill these positions as people are interested. Lloyd Show would like to serve on our Planning Commission. Margaret, what's the term of this? Is it written here somewhere?
It would be a 3-year term.
Oh, yeah, it is on the first page. Okay. So my recommendation would be to put Lloyd Show on. It looks like he's got a lot of qualifications to be on Planning Commission for a 3-year term.
I'll make that motion. This is Councilor Campbell for Lloyd Show for a 3-year term on the Planning Commission.
Second, Counselor Fountain.
Okay, motion and support. Any other discussion? Nice to-
Just a note, counselors, this will be the position that will be replacing Dave Rapucci's.
Okay.
if there was any question on that. And I do want to thank him. He has extended his term due to the fact that we did not have any applicants.
Okay, but he's leaving now. All right, Margaret, take a vote, please.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Baki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Committee for calendar parking. This actually was a request by Travis after the last meeting. I wasn't 100% sure what he wanted to do with it. My guess is he has some concerns. So Travis, you want to take this one?
Yeah, basically, I just want to get, I would assume it would be Larry, myself, Chief Vern. I'm open to another counselor if they want to be on it too. Just go over that ordinance. I think there are some streets where it's awfully tough to enforce calendar parking, but then at the same time, I feel like it's not enforced enough. And with our new plows coming in, I want to look at plowing curb to curb because our streets are narrow enough as it is. So I just think a discussion needs to be held regarding that.
So your recommendation would be the chief, the city supervisor, public works supervisor, yourself, and another counselor. Are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with just me. If someone else wants to jump on, I'm fine with that too.
Mr. Mayor, this is Chief Manor.
Yes.
Just a suggestion, Jim Johnson is a traffic engineer by trade, and his input's always pretty good on anything traffic related. So he sits on the traffic committee as well, and like I said, his input's usually pretty on point.
Mr. Mayor, this is Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, I guess, in support of that, to appoint Travis and Larry Fulstad, our supervisor, Chief Vern Manor, and Jim Johnson to this committee to review the calendar parking.
Should we add whoever they feel necessary that might assist in this as well?
Sure,
I mean, maybe it ends up being, maybe there'll be some attorney questions in there. Maybe there'll be some building official questions.
Yeah, I'll add it to my motion and to whoever else is needed, deemed by this committee.
Okay. Second for that?
It affects emergency services.
You can join, Bob.
Okay.
I'll include
Yeah,
Bob.
that's kind of where I was leading into, because I think, any city staff needs to be involved if it's brought in. So
I'll second that motion.
motion made by Campbell, seconded by Lance. Further discussion? Margaret, could you take a vote, please?
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Baki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Thank you all. Chisholm Downtown Revitalization Group request. If you look on page 74, they basically want permission to basically decorate the 2 utility boxes. I believe the one is right down by the fitness center, and I don't know where the other one is. Up by the PD up there. Is that where the second one is? But if you notice in like Hibbing has this done where they got wraps on the thing. So I think the first one here is they're just looking for permission to do something with those boxes. And then there's a second part of this where they want to go out. Next motion is to look for grants, and that kind of involves us before they end product. I think it says in here. So,
Mr. Mayor, this is Counselor Fountain. I'd like to make that motion for the Chisholm Downtown Revitalization Group to seek permission from us, Chisholm City Council, to utilize the 2 utility boxes to develop artistic wraps.
Okay, motion by Counselor Fountain. Is there a second for that?
I'll second it. Counselor Varda for discussion.
All right, Jim, continue.
I make my livelihood with utilities, and it's illegal to enclose utility boxes. Larry can probably speak to that.
I think they
Enclose
just
them
want
or
to paint them. They just want to paint the boxes that are already there.
Yeah, I seen them in Hibbing that what John or whoever referred to there. There it is a wrap. I noticed it the other day actually. Out walking around because of the social distancing, trying to find something to do, and I did notice it the other day. It was a wrap in Hibbing.
What is?
Is there a, do you, I mean, is that accurate that it's illegal to wrap them or?
I honestly don't know. I don't.
To wrap it or to completely enclose it?
Yeah, it wouldn't be enclosed. Basically, for lack of a better term, it'd be like they painted the box, let's just say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's fine. I don't know.
Well, if they're
Brian,
just painting it,
anything
but if they're just painting it, that's one thing. But if they're going to put a wrap on it, the wrap's going to get destroyed if they have to get into that box. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, well, obviously they got to cut the holes so that they can open the doors and stuff. Yeah, they're not going to wrap it without making it accessible. We need it for our streetlights. I think they're the two boxes that run our semaphores, aren't they, Larry?
Can I speak on behalf of this question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Please.
So yes, just to confirm what we're talking about, we are not looking at enclosing anything. It would just be an artistic wrap. It's almost like a car decal that goes on the utility boxes. It's going to be the same exact concept that Hibbing has in place right now. They've got quite a few of them in town. Just adds a touch of art, and it should not interfere with any of the process as far as how the utility box operates.
Okay. So we have a motion by Councillor Fountain, I believe, and second by Councillor Varda, I believe.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor. Margaret, you want to take roll call?
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion carries. Let me get up to speed here. Okay, on page 76, you basically have the rest of this. This letter is to inform us that the City of Chisholm is committed as a community partner for the utility RRAP project. City Council staff are very excited that Chisholm. So basically, it's a letter to them. And it allows them to doesn't it say on here somewhere that it allows them to look for grants on it? Yeah,
Is this
pursue
letter of
grants.
support that's
So
been signed
basically
by you?
allows them to go out looking for grants. And it looks like before any selection process is done, they talk to city. So basically it's the other half of this. Now that we are looking at the allowing them to do it, they can go out for grants. Katie, would that be correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And then just one thing, if you don't mind adding, so our idea is to go out for call to artists with local artists within the Chisholm area. And so we will have a committee for selecting the artists that we choose to work with. And so if anybody on the council would like to be part of that committee, please feel free to reach out to me.
April.
April, you're putting April on there, eh?
Okay, if April wants to be a part of it, she's more than welcome.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to send that letter.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion to send that letter.
Support.
Is there a second for that?
Support.
Second by Councillor Vaki. Motion was made by Councillor Campbell. Further discussion? I think it's a good project. They're just like gray or something now. So, Margaret, could you take a vote, please?
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Counselor Varda,
Aye.
Counselor Campbell,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion passes. Last item, page 77, I just figured with these meetings so close together, we could skip this April 8th one, go right to April 22nd. We'll get back on schedule, and then we'll hold regular meetings going forward. Give us a little bit more time to iron out all the things too here over the next couple of weeks and deal with what they think are going to be 2 bad weeks for this coronavirus. So I think it would be good to take a little break anyway for our staff. So that'd be my recommendation, to suspend the April 8th meeting.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Campbell. I'll make that motion to suspend the April 8th meeting.
Is there a second for that?
Support.
Supported by Councilor Vaki. Under our local emergency, the bills can all get paid as, plus we have the resolution outstanding that allows the administrator to pay basically whatever needs to be paid in between meetings. So no issue there. Further discussion? Okay, Margaret, could you take a vote?
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Counselor Varda.
Aye.
Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Any items that you see that are important to put on the April 22nd meeting? I can tell you that we're ready to bring back the campground purchase agreements and lease agreements for that meeting. So you'll see that coming out. We have had our final meeting with DeLawkins, so that will be on there. If anybody else has anything that they want to.
Hi, this is Counselor Fountain. I was hoping that we could get in touch with, I know that Bill has been in touch with them. Mr. Surdich and the ambulance crew, if they could come up and just give us a rundown of what their plans are for Chisholm, and let the people know.
So we could, let's look into that. I mean, we could either invite them, as part of our next meeting. I think we could bring in an ambulance, like Roland or Joe, or unless they want to put together a report. After you and I had spoken, I did reach out to Roland, who runs the ambulance service on a daily basis for the Surdiches. And he mentioned that they were doing a big conference call with all the Hibbing departments and stuff. Bob might know something about this as well, but he was going to follow up with me if there was anything. But I did reach out to him and tell him that, if they need anything from the city, to certainly reach out to us, because we're all in this together, obviously. So, Bob, you got anything? I don't know if you were part of any of the meetings.
Nothing new other than we're looking ahead and listening to the advice from all the health department officials. One of the things they're looking at right now, it's going to hit our major cities first. Second, it'll probably get to the suburbs. And by the time it gets to this rural area, what we're looking at and projecting or forecasting probably may not be till May. So this is a marathon. This isn't going to be just no heat race. So yes, like I said, we're meeting weekly with our ambulance service and our medical director. And they're also meeting with the local health officials.
So April, just to follow up, I'll either myself or Bill, we'll reach out to them and see if they'll give us some type of an update. Maybe Roland can do that in one form or fashion on, how he sees it from his side of the desk.
Can we also look at having that Q&A with Jim at some point in the next couple months or a month or so?
5-year plan thing, Travis?
Yeah, that, and then answer any questions we have. I think that's important to get started.
Yeah, I believe so too. Let's look at that, Bill. Seeing if we can set up one of these type of meetings for one of the days.
Okay, Mayor, I have it.
How about, Travis, how about we hold off and we set that thing at the April 22nd meeting, and we actually and we'll set it at that meeting, and we'll try to figure, and we'll probably have to do it like this, but, it will give us time to get together the existing plan that's in place and review it. So, motion to adjourn if we're all done.
Counselor Campbell makes a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Support.
Second.
first by Campbell, second by Baki. We don't need a roll call. All in favor. Everybody's gonna say aye.
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 And motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.
See you, everybody.